Hi, my name is Yin Gao and welcome to Dr. Gao's classroom. I'm a professional philosopher and I love classical Chinese poetry. I have been teaching and translating classical Chinese poetry with a colleague of mine for the last few years. I'd love to share my knowledge on the subject with you. Your enjoyment is my command. Today, I'm going to change the format I present poetry to you. So far, I have followed the structure I set in my first video for this channel. That is, I would introduce a poet, followed by a brief biography of the poet, and then translate a few of the poet's poems. This works really well for most of the poets because they only have a few well-known poems, and it is enough for us to know about the poet. However, this approach misses a very important aspect of classical Chinese poetic tradition. Just as poetry in many other languages, there are many different styles and poetic forms by which the poets compose their poems. The Chinese poets also compose their poems according to a huge variety of styles and forms. I have introduced one such form in detail in a video I made about the test poems for the civil service examination in Tang Dynasty. If you're interested in checking it out, here's the link. Today, I'm going to explain one of the poetic form named 长相思, or Missing You Forever. I have translated and analyzed the 3 poems in this form by the great Tang Dynasty poet Li Bai. Here's the link to the first video. There are many poems composed in this form. Li Bai's poems are the most famous ones. Second to Li Bai is probably the poem by Bai Ju-yi. I have translated several of Bai Ju-yi's poems and talked about his love story. If you would like to check them out, here's the link to my first video on Bai Ju-yi. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, or medical literature. If you like the content of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. If you would like to read the original text with me, please contact me. Here's my email address. Now, let me explain the form of 长相思. 长相思 is a lyric form appeared during the early years of Tang Dynasty. As indicated by the name of this form, poems following this form are almost exclusively about romantic love, especially the Langying and Yanning when the lovers were separated from each other. There were a few variations to the form during the early years of the Tang Dynasty. Li Bai's poems followed the following format. Let me read the poems now. 长相思在长安，若为秋啼金井阑，微霜凄凄殿色寒。孤灯不明思欲绝，卷帷望月空长叹。美人如花隔云端. If you would like to check out the translation for this poem, please check out my other video. Here's the link. As you might be able to hear the rhyming characters, the an, lan, han, tan, duan from my reading are the rhyming characters. As you can see in this structure, they are the character represented by A. This form is already quite strict. However, as time went on, the form became more and more strict. By the time Bai Ju-yi composed his poem, the form had already fixed in the following format, where every line rhymes to the last character of the first line. Now, let me read the poem in Chinese first so you can hear the rhyming characters. 汴水流，泗水流，流到瓜洲古渡头，吴山点点愁。诗悠悠，恨悠悠，恨到归时方始休，月明人已楼。So there's quite a bit of change. Not only the last characters rhymes, but also the last line of each part were changed from 7 characters to 5 characters. Now, let me translate the poem character by character. So the first 4 lines read, 汴水流，泗水流，流到瓜洲古渡头，吴山点点愁。汴 is the other name of Tongji Qu, which was part of the Grand Canal connecting the Yellow River to the Yangtze River. It crosses 3 provinces from Henan, Anhui to Jiangsu over 600 kilometers. 水 means water, but it also means river. 流 means flow. 泗 was the tributary river to the Huai River linking Shandong province to Henan province, which played a significant role in linking the southern part of China to the north, where the large plain formed by the Yellow River was the very heart of the Tang Empire, as shown by this map. 水 again refers to the river. 流 means flow again. 流 means flow again. 道 means to. Gua is the name of a state located in today's Jiangsu province. Zhou means state. Gu means ancient. 渡头 means harbor. Wu refers to the state of Wu. San means mountain. Dian means dot. Dian dian means dot by dot. Chou means sorrow. So the 4 lines read, the Bian River flows, the Si River flows to the ancient harbor in Milo State. Each mountain in Wu adds little by little to my sorrow. 诗悠悠，恨悠悠，恨到归时方始休，月明人已楼。诗 means miss. You most time means leisurely, but here it means many, and it's used as an adjective to say that the person traveling misses someone very much. 恨 means resent. Yo-yo again means very much. We also insert the subject I and object him in our translation. The reason we use the object him rather than her is that traveling during Imperial China was difficult and expensive, and women rarely travel by themselves. But men travels a lot, especially scholars who went on study tours or officials who travel for their work. Both Tang and Song dynasty had extensive postal services sponsored by the state. Here's the link to my short video clip explaining the postal services sponsored by the state during Imperial China. The third group of men who traveled a lot were the merchants. So the traveler who was traveling from the north to the south could be any one of these 3 groups. 恨 means resent, 道 means till, 归 means return, 时 means the time, 方 means then, 始 means began, 休 means stop, 月 means moon, 明 means bright, 人 means person, but here it is a self-reference, so we translate it as I. 乙 means lin, 楼 means tower. So the 4 lines read, I miss him, I resent him. I'll stop resenting him when he returns. Here I am, leaning on the tower balcony, in moonlight. I would like to make a few comments on this poem. The first point I would like to make is the route by which the person in the poem was traveling. As you can see from this map, sailing from the Si River in the north and then down the Bian River from Henan province to Jiangsu province, basically crossed the whole Tang Empire from the northern frontier to the southeast coast. This was the main route for transporting resources and army across the whole China during the early Tang Dynasty in the 7th century to the very end of the Shang Dynasty around the 13th century AD. This route is probably the most important contributing factor for the prosperity achieved during these two dynasties. However, the emperor under whose regime this great infrastructure was constructed was regarded as one of the most evil tyrants in Chinese history. His name was Yang Guang, the second and the last emperor of the Sui dynasty. He ordered the construction of this huge infrastructure in order to conquer Gaogoli, a smaller country to the northeast of Sui Empire. This huge project and the subsequent war against Gaogoli bankrupted the Sui dynasty within 14 years and brought down the dynasty. The other thing about Yang Guang is that he was an excellent poet, and his poems were cited hundreds of years later by other poets. It is reasonable to say that he was a hopeless romantic. Well, it might be a bad idea to have a romantic as the leader of a nation. I have made 2 videos about Yang Guang's life and poems. Here's the link to my first video about Yang Guang. The third point I would like to make is that the poem seems to assume 2 different voices. The first 4 lines takes a man's voice describing his journey sailing down the Grand Canal. It was the experience of a traveler who sails further and further away from his home. It would take him months to travel from the northern frontier all the way to the southeast coast, and it would take him another few months to travel back home. As he passes from mountain to mountain, it just adds more sorrow to his homesickness. Even the huge mountain become little dots comparing to the sorrow he was experiencing. While the second part of the poem assumes a woman's voice, missing her husband. She also knew she might not be able to see her husband for months or even over a year, and she had to spend all this time by herself. The moonlight set on her in her tower indicate that there will be countless sleepless nights waiting for her. The form of 长相思, although seem quite strict, is a favorite form for many poets down the centuries when it comes to compose poems about romantic love. I'm going to translate a few more poems in this form in the next few weeks. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos on classical Chinese poetry, philosophies, or medical literature. If you like the contents of these videos, please click the like button and subscribe my channel. I also offer one-to-one online lessons on these subjects. If you would like to read original text with me, please contact me. Here's my email address. Thanks for watching my video. I'll see you next time.